session 3 is called Looking Forward. And what we are going to talk about today is what this forum, how it can provide a voice for you, how you can reflect on what's important for you and how you build leadership. Think about how you could foster and mentor a new generation of leaders who are you. Reflect on the discussions throughout this morning, and how you can build on this and create relationships. Although by the chats that I've been watching all morning, I think it's pretty evident that you're communicating well with each other. And how are some ways that you could grow your leadership and achieve your goals? And to build on Jillian's session, the last session you were at, one of the first skills that really this type of event will help you gain experience with is to building a strong network. So by the time day 3 is done, hopefully this group of young leaders will have all sort of connected, and it will stay connected, and we can do a follow-up, a assessment of the event with you, and that you will stay connected. You maybe not quite as much as Chantal. She stays so connected. She came to the program last year and is coordinating it this year. So she's our star example of how this can move you along. Anybody have any thoughts or would like to speak about a network, maybe one that you are already, involved with, a network of organizations or peoples or students? I'd like to hear what the group has already to build on. You don't have to, absolutely don't have to, but if you have a good example, please feel free to share it.
So my name's Sakura, and a good example of networking for me is that I'm a part of the Canadian Mental Health Association's National Youth Advisory Council, which is a really big mouthful, and we're hoping to name, but that 15 youth from across the nation, and we work really closely to develop new programs and like share lived experiences, and really just collaborate together to make CMHA the best we can. So I'm really excited to be here.
Exactly, and what an opportunity for our cohort this year to have you with us as a part of the group. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
So one example, so my name is Saprit, and I currently work with YMCA of Cape Breton Employment Services Center. So we do help clients in getting employment and revising their resume, but at the same time, we do collaborate with the community organizations when it comes to mental health. And if we see like some of our clients, that they are having some hard time when it comes to mental health, we always, refer them to the community organizations. And I think that's one way we are able to network with them as well. The more we talk to the organizations around us, the more we get to know people who are working in different locations, and not only it benefit our clients, but it help us network as well. So I think that's how I do it.
That's wonderful. Another really good example, because it's the first example is very well, it's national to begin with, so it's across the country, and it's focused and works closely with the National Organization of Canadian Mental Health. And this one is more focused in community. And so therefore you have already worked with collaborating, and you just said it yourself, it's mutually beneficial. So the different places and people and organizations you network and do things together with, collaborate with, that will strengthen that's how things get done in community, I guess would be my short version. So if it's a big community like the Canadian Mental Health Association, or if it's just a more local, geographical community, that is the relationship building and the networking and learning to work together, shared learnings, shared working. Those are all the things that will be effective as you try to move forward in whatever your goals in life are. Each one a bit of a different focus or a bit of a different shape, but that's the wonderful thing about working together and working across sectors. You just, it doesn't have to look the same in Sydney, Nova Scotia as it does in Montreal, Quebec, or in Charlottetown, PEI. They all reflect the community or the organizations that are working together, and it really does enhance everyone's learning and does make progress far easier. And it's not easy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it can make it feel easier when you're doing it with other like-minded and other organizations that have that same focus. And just to wrap this one up, is the thing that one thought that I'd like us to keep is that it is not broken up into departments and compartments and all that we do. It really does, the environment and the economy have to learn to work together. I mean, it's a really, to go back again to Jillian's point, the individual is not what's going to happen here. What make change or improve things will be everyone working together with common values and also being willing to have different ideas and accepting those and not dismissing ideas and suggestions, but exploring them and discussing them, and then you find if there's a little nugget of something great in there, it will emerge. So thank you for all those examples. Sorry.
Thank you.
So thank you for those examples. It was wonderful randomly that it came up as 3 different sort of structures. So that was good. So I have a question that I'm going to put out, and I don't know. I guess how do you use your mic? You just raise your hand if whoever wants to answer, if anyone does. But I'm looking for suggestions from this group about participating as best as you can. What would help you be a great participant in ASI 2020, even though we're online and we're this and we're that? But are there certain, pieces that you think would really help you be active and engaged and keep your interest?
So folks, to raise your hand in the participant window, if you hover your mouse over your own name, you'll see that raise hand feature. And Chantel will keep an eye out on who has their hand raised. So you'll notice right now, Chantel and Leslie, my hand is raised. I'm going to lower it.
Okay. Now I know there's good ideas out there, so feel free to make some suggestions that we can learn together about. Jean, because it's my daytime work as well as the every day that I work, I'm involved with it. So you lose the appreciation of just how much an impact this is having on everyone, but in particular people with isolation already already sort of socially isolated, and then we have everyone stay at home for 3 months, and it's had a tremendous impact, I would say, on every single individual, but particularly dramatic on some of our seniors and some of our other populations that just don't have the access for supports or for social connections. So thank you. And I think we should earmark that. I've written it down.
I know for September is getting quite close now, and for a lot of us, we might be going back to studying and stuff, and that's going to be a really interesting one for some of starting university years, but from home and going back to school or in different situation. That is going to be a lot of different changes, and that is taking a lot of place. I know in my, like, I'm still trying to figure out what's my schedule, and we're two
Yes.
weeks away from the starting of some classes, so it's
Yeah.
quite chaotic in some aspects. And as well as we're quite lucky in the Atlantic provinces, because we now have a bubble with all the Atlantic provinces, and we can have some vacation time to recharge and stuff. But it's quite a strange September and late August time.
Yes, and thank you again. That's that whole idea of returning to studies, whether it's pre-primary to graduate studies, I guess, it's all going to look different, and it's all going to emerge and evolve as it goes. We will learn as we go, but it's yeah, it's you are so right. I'll sum I think what you're saying about we're strange times is that my saying is everything takes so much longer, and it doesn't matter what it might be, whether it's
Yeah.
pumping gas or getting your schedule for classes.
Hmm.
One more? Anybody else?
I'm sorry, your voice was kind of cutting off and I kind of got locked out. I think I missed a
Oh,
question. Could you please repeat it?
what is there something that would really help you participate well and fully in our forum, in our ASI policy forum?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I think one thing that I really found useful, and I don't want to put Chantal on spot or something, but whenever there is like a long pause, and then Chantal come forwards and just talk about something, and she is kind of a catalyst for the conversation, and it just like makes us feel more comfortable, and then the chain begins, and we all start talking. So I think Chantal, we really appreciate you doing that. So that's great. Keep up the good work. Thanks.
Well, that is pretty wonderful, and I'm not. Having worked with Chantal last year, I'm not at all surprised to hear that. In terms of she's a very caring and capable person, and has a wonderful smile and a great laugh.
Haha, thanks, Kathy. But thanks, Sabri, as well. I'll make sure to do that because, sometimes I feel the same way. It's like, what am I going to say if I don't know what to say? So that helps. And that's also a good tip I'm gonna pass on to the actual presenter so they know that we, as well as just other people in the forum, we don't do their work on a day-to-day basis. Like Kathy said, like her life is pretty much surrounded around mental health and health. But for many of us, we aren't really in that like technical terminology. We're not in that realm of existence as much as Kathy. So we'll make sure to make sure that the presenters know that we are wanting to learn, we're willing to give, but we also want to make sure we're in a place where we're comfortable to do so.
Exactly. And I don't think I'm talking out of turn when I say that we probably this year have the one of the very better coordinators for the youth program, having just participated fully last year, and very interested, wrote a testimonial for us when we were applying for a grant, and just so I think that I hope, of course, but I do believe that it's going to be, while different, to Pierre's point, and strange and take longer. It may take us a little longer. It's sometimes a little less easy. But so I'll tell a little short side story. I was telling the organizers, the board of directors, and our other people that, I felt that I was at a fairly large disadvantage because I was the youth program board member, and I just I didn't think I would be able to manage online, but it's been very good so far. So I will just be positive about that. And I hope everyone else, I know we're having a little bit of connection problems, and unfortunately that happens. But, and we had a Zoom crash, but that's okay. We're still going strong. So when you're thinking about um, a way to network, are you strategically going to sort of make sure you have some youth people at the concurrent sessions, for example, so that you get a bit, you can come back together after the sessions and share fully among yourselves? I mean, that's something that worked well a few years ago. And to that point, we are going to soon move into a little discussion about learning circles. And learning circles are a way for a larger group, like the youth program, participants, to form smaller talking circles, really is what it is, but learning circles is what it's called. But to discuss, for tomorrow morning, I think it's 8 o'clock, Chantel?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The learning circle,
Oh,
8 o'clock
right.
tomorrow morning?
The session chat that people have been talking so far, but I'm going to create 2 separate questions. I'll just share my screen.
Thank you.
Sorry, my computer's overheating.
I know, everything's overheating.
And if you have a Mac, like, haha, we have air fryers. So if you have a Windows, you're lucky that you can breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Pat on the shoulder for that pun. But let's try to put 2 groups or 4 groups. Were we doing that? Yeah, group 1. And then you will be able to, so then you can like type in message, or you can even have a photo. And then we're going to have 4 groups, and we're going to divide you up just down the list, like, give you 1, 2, 3, or 4. So it's all equal, and stuff like that. So that way we're not biased, and we can all have like pretty good small conversations, and then come together probably at the end to discuss as a group, big group. And I think this is very important, because you may think like, oh, we're just talking, but these talking, like how policies get made, it's through talking. And we want to influence policy as much as we can.
Yeah, exactly. That's great, Chantel. You got on that in a hurry, I'll tell you. We only talked about it at lunchtime, really, but
Yes,
so Wendy,
you have your hand up, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Do I have my hand up? Sorry. No?
Oh, no, Nawal.
You will be able to go over to the session Q&A, and you will be able to just to have your question come up in the Q&A itself. So for example, Chantel, do you want to share your screen, and I'm going to go to your session Q&A? So because Chantel has set up the group 1, group 2, let's say, for example, I was given group 1. I would click on the group 1, and then I can say, Wendy something, 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 and just say send. So it will always go into that group 1.
Ah.
Yeah, so all of that will be collected in that group 1 session. And you'll notice when Chantel goes back to the group 1, you'll see that there's 1 reply. So that's me making my answer in group number 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Chantel, do you want to ring off down the participant window of who is going to which group?
You're muted, Chantel.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, great. Thank you. So my screen will look different from yours, but it's not biased. I'm just making sure I get everyone. So first I have Alicia, and you will be group 1. Then we have Erica. You will be group 2. Then we have Gabby. You'll be group 3. And Kayla, you'll be group 4. Louisa, you'll be group 1. Michael, you'll be group 2. Natalie, you'll be group 3. And Noel, you'll be group 4. Pierre, you'll be group 1. Sabrit, you'll be group 2. Takira, you'll be group 3. Sophie, you'll be group 4. And Zachariah, you'll be group, let's put you in group 1.
And did you want Anne to go and participate in any of the Q&As?
I think she might be moderating.
Okay.
Yeah, she is.
Sorry.
She and no, both Anne and Chantel, we've worked together around the youth program pretty steadily this year. And so I reached out to them when I came up with the idea of doing chat groups instead of breakout rooms or whatever. And I said, I think I'd like to have some couple of people sort of help me keep an eye on all of that. So they're going to do that with me.
You're very wise.
Mhm.
All right. I will be quiet now.
No, by all means, I'm glad you're making the suggestions. What if we hadn't thought about that?
Great. So just because I don't have good memory, Cathy, do you mind if I do you mind if you repeat the question or what we're doing?
The question is, how can you, the one that we just did around the participating effectively in ASI?
Oh, no, the one that we'll do for the group session.
Oh, for the group session.
Yes.
So the group session is, well, so we have 3 circles. Is that correct? 4 circles. Okay, that's perfect. I have them right in front of me. I just couldn't remember if we cut it back to 3 or not. So you will stay in, by the way, these circles are for the life of the policy forum. So you stay together, so you become a bit of a cohesive, get to know each other a little bit better, build some synergy, hopefully. And for tomorrow morning, is that when we do it? Your question will be, well, first of all, introduce yourselves within your circle and talk about the purpose of the learning circles. And that's where Chantel and Anne and myself will be part of that. We'll just move through that. And then you can we'd like to have feedback on today, obviously, and some ideas to the discussion would be around what do you hope to take away at the end of the 3 days. So basically it's sort of building the structure for your conversations for the next 3 conversations. Any questions, any thoughts, any suggestions? We're very fluid. We can dance on our 1 foot here.
And the good news is that tomorrow morning we will have Zoom and we'll be able to break you into those same groups that you just assigned or different groups, however you choose.
Sounds good.
Allow me, please. I was wondering how could I reach with the group 4?
So we're going to do I think what we need to do now is, and I know not everyone's here, but at least there'll be a cohort of people who will have the experience of going to their group.
Okay, thank you.
So Chantel, are you able to facilitate that?
To an extent, I'm going to have to be just going down the line and remembering who I put where.
Well, they must all remember the group ones. It's like, so everyone, the people
Right.
on the call, on the meeting would know who
Exactly.
if they're number one.
Exactly. So, just go to session 3, and if you have trouble going in there, I can email you the link, but click on your group and you can start talking. I wrote down the general outline for your learning circle, so you can refer back to it.
Oh, you're
And
so good.
thanks. And then group 2 has already started talking, which is excellent. Remember,
Great.
everyone can see your chat, but that's the good part about it, because a lot of times, sometimes I feel like I want to learn from other people I'm not grouped with. It's not personal.
Absolutely.
It's just I want to learn more. So now you have the chance. And
so in a way, it's better than in person.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can have pictures. So if you really want to emote yourself using Google Images, then go ahead as well.
Nice.
So let's just get started. I can put stuff into the chat as well if that helps you jog your memory. And also don't hesitate to use the functions on WebEx as well, like talking.
Yeah.
And I also noticed that some folks are using the community tab, which is really cool as well. So if Chantal clicks over to the community, I just see that Alyssa has joined the community there.
Oh, wow. That's great.
But let's focus on those questions.
So they're at the top of your, yeah.
And Louisa is in Sydney.
Nice.
So some folks are communicating in the community board rather than the session Q&A. So are you expecting those connections to be made in the session Q&A?
We would, that was what Chantal was thinking, right?
Yeah. So Alyssa and Louisa, since you posted in the community, can you click over to the session Q&A tab and find your group name? Find your group, whether you were assigned to group 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's where you can say where you're from. Perfect. I see Alyssa there as well.
I am in the session Q&A.
Yep, that's good. That's where you want to be. Okay. Oh, you know what? Sorry, I have them linked. I have my session Q&A linked, so I wouldn't miss anything. Never mind. I'm going back to my screen.
That is very funny.
Too many options. Too many options.
Great. I'm excited for the community feature. Jumping on board.
I am too. Yeah.
Because once, like, don't hesitate to find a mentor here at ASI. Most of the people who come here are really willing to help. And, you know, if you're going into some stream, you're going to have mentors because they help you so much. And this way you can maybe do a virtual coffee date. Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now.
No, that's excellent. And I'm really glad we did that. And so are we going to leave it with the community and the Q&A linked so that we do have that, Wendy?
Yes, they do stay linked.
Okay, perfect. So that's even better because you've got your own and then you've got the larger world out there in virtual land. So what I need to hear if there are any concerns or if you think it's going to work or if you're excited or not.
I just had a quick question. So in the groups, we are supposed to talk about where are we from? And probably this is we are supposed to talk within ourselves up until 3 p.m. Or do we have anything after that? Or are we supposed to come back to the group Zoom meeting again or this WebEx meeting again?
So I would suggest, oh, I got a bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I think it was just somebody's puppy dog.
Oh, I didn't know what I had done. So I would suggest it is 2:15. Would you like to have a half an hour to discuss, or, you know, when we, and the four of us really, because Wendy and oh God, and Chantel and myself will be around if there's any questions throughout that time. But then could we come back at say, 2:45, and have a 15-minute sort of
Okay.
report back?
Okay, got it. So we'll be back in 2:45. Until then, bye.
Okay, so are most people back online here?
Yes, I'm back. I don't know if
Thank you, Pierre.
We
Yeah,
don't want to lose everybody.
Yes, I'm
that's
back. This is Noel.
Good.
Yep, Sabreed is back too. I was always here, but yeah.
Maybe turn on your videos if you wish.
Oh, sure.
Pierre. Yeah.
Kind of nice to see faces at the end.
Nice. If I disappear, it's because I've been shut down by the NSAJ server for having my video on.
No worries. Excellent. Okay, let's begin.
So we didn't give you this direction, but I would love to have like a one sentence from one person in the group that what was, and then we'll do it again if we have time. But one person from group one, what was good about it? Quick,
So someone from group 1.
All right, group one shy. Group two, one comment on what was good.
So I think it was really nice to talk to people who are like-minded. And we did talk about what we are studying, what we are interested in, and how we can cope with mental health when we're in school. So we shared some cool the cool how we cope with mental health ideas. I think it was nice. So it was nice talking to them, and we did share our emails as well. So I hope
Good.
we'll be in touch.
Good. That's great. Now, group three. Anyone? Group three.
Group 3 here. I think it was just really good. We got to know each other, sort of thing. We heard a lot about what each other were doing, sort of thing. What like councils we were on, what our jobs were, how we really worked, and how we kind of got into not necessarily this program, but kind of working along the same lines, and how we connected to each other kind of through this program. We talked a little bit about future plans and schools and stuff like that, and just kind of where we lived and things that we liked.
Nice. Nice. Group four. I think I'm going to shut
pop
mine
my video
off.
off very quick.
Yeah. Good idea. Okay.
Yeah, but I was just saying that I don't know if you guys heard, but we built a rapport and a connection very quick, and realized our roles in our careers kind of gave us that connection. So we were able to discuss more on that. But it was really great just how people who have never met before were able to gain a connection and a new network within the 15 minutes that we spoke. So I think it was a great experience.
Well, that's great. Now, group one. Anybody going to speak for group one?
I'll speak if no one else is going to.
You go ahead.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, I know in my case, like I'm really slow at typing, and I do prefer speaking to people like in person. But it wasn't bad conversation. I think we spoke briefly about like the difficulties with social media that were not made to make social connection, but to make profit. But it's very different too, and we're getting used to it, but it was okay.
Good. Good.
And Pierre, tomorrow, if all the planets align, we'll have our Zoom breakout rooms and videos and microphones for each of your small groups.
Yes.
And I did see the question about the staying in the small group. So I'm going to turn it over to, what's your name? Chantel? I've talked to her so much today. I'm drawing a blank and my brain is slowing down. So I'll let Chantel talk about tomorrow morning at 8:30, thankfully, not 8. I like that cat. I have one the same color.
Thanks, Cathy. Yeah, I haven't really looked at your chats all the way through because you type really fast, and like Pierre says, sometimes talking's better, but I like the chats because because we can actually go refer back to it later, especially since a lot of you are trying to make not just conference connections, you want to make sure these continue long term. And that's the whole point of ASI. So that's why we have learning circles tomorrow morning. They are early for some of you, I'm sorry, especially for you in Central Canada. So it will be at 7:30. Rise and shine, I suppose. But these learning circles are just a time for us to regroup and really go over what we liked, what we didn't like, because feedback is really important. The positive stuff is good, but always the more constructive, the better, so we can make it a better experience. As well as, I think the organizers of ASI also want to use the learning circles as an opportunity for us to create our own questions that we want to ask political leaders and policymakers. So I'm going to share my screen quickly.
As you're sharing your screen, Chantel, I just need a clarification.
Before we sign off, I want to say that moderating is really cool, and sometimes, you know, like I don't do stuff just so I could put it on my resume, but putting moderator on your resume for like a national conference is a pretty good pat on the back for yourself, especially since you're working with really heavy and really research academic based topics, as well as working with industry professionals. So you'll basically be killing, oh, that's not good. You'll be basically checking off all the boxes. I was going to say, you know, the bird things, but let's try to be nice to nature. So checking off the boxes, and you're also making good connections. Yeah.
So before we go, could I just quickly say, as much as we understand it's early, it would really give your day a good start if you could check in at what time is it again? 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
And I'm going to go out on a limb, Chantel. I'll probably have to, I don't know what I have to do to get this to happen, but I think that we should reward people who come to these ungodly early learning circles. So I'll come up with some kind of, way to support you in that for coming out early 2 mornings in a row.
I'm sure Patsy and Kristen will have some ideas as well.
I know. So I'll get onto that as soon as we sign off. I'll send my email off.
That's why we're taking attendance, because I think there's like some well, it's not really attendance, just making sure you're okay. But we also have some stuff planned, like the scavenger hunt, which people will talk about.
Yeah. So I don't like it early either. So just because you're young, you're not the only one who doesn't like early morning things. So be kind tomorrow morning, please. Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks, for being so patient as we pivoted our way into WebEx.
Well, that's why it's nice to be the assigned board member for the youth program, because young people are just much easier to deal with in terms of all these kind of disastrous things. And they bring me along. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye
folks.
for now.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.